What's up, everybody? It's your pal Joey.T. from the Cartoon.P giving you the spoiler review of Hotel Transylvania 3. In case you haven't seen that video, I recommend clicking the card up there or waiting to the end of the video where you see the link and you can go ahead and check that video spoiler free. But for now, this is the spoiler video for Hotel Transylvania 3. Right off the bat, let's go ahead and talk about Erica and Van Helsing. So I think it's interesting that amongst all the comments that I got, everybody's pointing out that, well, Erica is extra fine. They all got to talk about Mavis. And for some reason, I can't shake that off because I never really found Mavis to be that attractive to begin with. Maybe it's because she's voiced by Selena Gomez and I remember her from Waverly Place. So I really don't imagine myself really seeing her as being the extra thick as everybody's been pointing out online. So with Erica, I didn't mention this in the spoiler video and I was very hesitant and I almost mentioned it in the spoiler-free video, but Van Helsing, her great-great-grandfather, is still alive through cartoon logic, which, believe it or not, this movie's no short supply on. And it actually helps the movie a little bit. In some ways, it creates the contrast, it shows the dynamic between her and the grandfather and the monsters. I bought into it. So basically, your movie has a monster falling in love with the person that's trying to kill him, which, if that sounds familiar, that's because it's the plot to Addams Family's Values. And in some ways, I did mention this in the spoiler-free video without saying the movie specifically, it did remind me of that film, but it also reminded me of the first Addams Family film, where you have Uncle Fester trying to get back into the family, realizing that he likes the family and he doesn't want to take away their fortune, which kind of reminded me very vaguely of the plot to this. So Addams Family Values, you know, if you're going to rip off something, rip off on the best. And I think this is great because as far as Hotel Transylvania goes, it's between the humans and the monsters, the dynamic and the distinction between the two. And in some ways, this plot actually resembles the first plot to a certain degree since it is about the monsters and the humans trying to coexist. Something that the second film didn't really touch up on. While we did get to see Jonathan's family, I don't think it really showcased it in the same way that this sequel did. Speaking of Hotel Transylvania 2, you got that arc with Dennis and his dog, and in some ways, it doesn't really go anywhere. I'll argue that you don't even need it that much, but yeah, Dennis is in the film. To me, he's like Kimmy from Rugrats, so kind of pointless. What I find odd, and I didn't mention this in the spoiler video as much, but Mavis getting upset that her dad's going on a date with somebody, to me, that just didn't sit with me. I mean, she's about 120 years old and she doesn't want to see her dad go on a date, and she's kind of being hypocritical, and at some point she does find out that Erica is a bad person trying to kill Dracula, but eventually opening up, getting a change of heart. But at the same time, it's kind of odd because it's Mavis who just doesn't want to see her dad date anybody. I mean, really? I mean, if it were my dad in that situation, I'd be proud of him. Granted, that's not the situation with my family. He's happily married, as most happily married people are when they're married for about over 20 or 30 years, so what do I know? With the first film and the second film, you got the other monsters and they do their own thing. And I'm going to start off with the ones that don't really make an impact to the plot. There's Murray, the mummy. In the first film, he was voiced by CeeLo Green. Now he's voiced by Key from Key and Peele. So that just shows you how interchangeable he is. And he really doesn't really add to this plot other than having a suspicion about Erica. The same goes for David Spade, which I think is a waste of good voice talent. I mean, I love seeing Kuzco in an animated film again, but his story, he's got a girlfriend, and that's not even the focus. It was more of a focus in the second film, but now it's kind of just a sight gag in this film for a character that you can't see. A sight gag for that. I don't know. Quirky. Let's go ahead and talk about the monster that does play a bigger role. You got the werewolf, with a very funny scene. You know, the werewolf character voiced by Steve Buscemi. He finally finds out he can dump his kids in a daycare, leading to a very funny scene with his wife. I actually found that to be very funny because to me it reminded me of being free and, you know, all that fun stuff. But it's so short because he eventually gets captured and you don't really get to see him that much anyway. But the one monster that somehow gets the most screen time outside of Dracula is Frankenstein. And his thing with his wife, they're in the boat, but then there's this scene where they go to a casino in Atlantis, and I'm just gonna be real with you, I find it hilarious how, while they show the bad side of gambling, it actually kind of tempts you to go back to AC or Vegas. I don't know, maybe the film's got a stake. A stake. In a Vegas hotel or casino or whatnot. It actually makes casinos look freaking amazing. And like I said, they show the bad side to gambling, but still, I just think it's an interesting oversight to make casinos look amazing. Speaking of which, before they go to the casino, they had an amazing scene that made me do a double take. You got the Kraken, a very wonderfully animated Kraken, who does this song and dance type of swing vibe, and I had to think to myself, is that Voltaire? Because that reminds me of Voltaire when he did songs for Billy and Mandy. But believe it or not, it's one of the Jonas Brothers. I don't know, maybe Nick Jonas wanted to give his brother Joe a favor since he was in Jumanji, so he's like, hey, go into this Sony Picture. And he actually did a pretty good job. Very well animated character. Which reminds me of the whole plot to the film. So Van Helsing wants Erica to get this talisman that could finally destroy all the monsters. And I'm gonna be real with you, it kind of sounded like a lost plot to a Popeye movie that Gendy was gonna be directing. And to be fair, there's a lot of nautical stuff in this film, so I kind of had that feeling. It wasn't distracting because it felt in tone with the film, so I had no problem with it. It leads to a dance number that I thought was very charming. All I gotta say, very wonderful dance scene if you're a DJ. I've been a DJ for years and I thought it was funny. And those are my spoiler thoughts to Hotel Transylvania 3. Comment below and let me know what you think. If you've seen the movie, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I'm Joey T and thanks for watching. Take care.